Hi guys, in this video, we're gonna talk about our savings tracker. I think we all know savings is really important, but we created our savings tracker because one struggle that happens to many people, and maybe it's even happened to you, is that you have one savings account, but multiple different places that you're trying to save for. Super important. And so our savings tracker is something we created so that you're able to categorize those savings. So for example, say you had $10,000 in one savings account, but some of it, say $5,000 set aside for emergencies, another $2,000 is set aside for a vacation, and another $3,000 is set aside to replace your car. There's lots of different places and things that you could be saving towards, but knowing exactly how much you have set aside for each specific goal is super important so that you can spend and save and know where you're at with all of your savings.
Yeah. I really do agree this is helpful because if you go and let's say see a deal on a car and spend $8,000 on the car, what you've done though is you've actually taken some of the money that was set aside for, I think you said vacation or just regular emergencies, and now you've left yourself really short on cash to cover those things. So by tracking them separately, if you need $8,000 for the next car or $20,000, you see how much you have and how much you need to go. And there's something so powerful about just starting. When you just start to save towards a goal. You know, for Allie and I made a promise to her that we would go on an amazing trip to London for our anniversary. But early on, even before we got married, we realized, hey, we don't want to go into debt on that first trip on our honeymoon, so we're going to wait. Well, it took us about 5 years. But we had an amazing trip, not only to London, but to Paris. And it happened just little by little through savings, and in our case, just the kind of crazy blessing of God and friends and cool deals. But when you start moving towards a certain thing, doors open up. And so I just encourage you, start saving in the different categories. Don't be discouraged if you can only put a little bit towards it. It's better to be honest than to close your eyes and just hope the money's going to come. See, oh, wait, this is how much we need for a car, this is how much we want for emergency, this is how much we need to set aside for a health deductible. And that's why when you get into this section, I was going to walk us through it. We list out some suggested savings categories that we use and we think are really helpful, like saving towards your next car and having an emergency fund and a few other things like that. But you may have some specific ones. It's going to allow you to have those by category and start building towards them. And you know what? Please reach out to us as you reach those goals. We want to celebrate with you as you reach those savings goals.
Definitely. So now let's jump into the journal and walk through our savings tracker. All right, so opening up here to our savings tracker portion of your monthly money journal, when you go to your first page of your savings tracker, you're going to find that it follows the exact same order as did the beginning of your journal in the savings section of your entire monthly budget. So it's broken up with some of the most common areas that people save towards, as well as some custom sections a few pages deeper. So there are some custom savings sections for you as well if there's specific custom things that you are saving towards or specific goals you're saving towards. So what's great about this is it's helping you be able to manage all of your savings that's happening in one account. So how this is going to work is, for example, in your emergency section, this is money that you're setting aside for emergencies. You're going to have a budgeted amount that you reflected at the beginning of your journal that you want to put towards that specific savings category during this month. Then, if this is the first time and you have no money in your savings account at all, then it may be $0. But if you've been saving towards this for a while and say this is your second month of your journal and you've saved from the previous month, you're going to put not how much is in the entire savings account, but you're going to put how much you've set aside for that specific goal. So your start of the month balance, you're going to transfer from one journal to the next throughout the months, but that's going to be the amount of money set aside for that specific goal. Then as you work through the month, if there's any reason that you may be taking money out or putting money in that's not a part of your budgeted amount, then this is where you're going to track that. So you may put the reason that you pulled money. So say you had an emergency come up that you needed to pull money out of your savings account and specifically out of your emergency section of your savings account, you'd put that reason right here. You'd put that it would be a minus because it was a withdrawal withdrawal. It wasn't a deposit. So if it was a withdrawal, you'll put that it was a minus. You'll put the amount that you took out, and then now the new balance that's reflected. So for example, if you had $1,000 set aside for emergencies, that was your start of the month balance. Then you had something crazy happen that cost $200. You'd put whatever that reason was. You'd put a minus. Then you'd put the amount was $200. And then finally your balance is now $800 because you had $1,000 at the beginning of the month. And now you've taken out $200, which means you have $800 for that month. Then as you go throughout the month, say you maybe had some extra money that you came into. Somebody gave you some money to put towards your emergency fund. We all like that, right? You might put that reason down, and that would be a deposit. So it'd be positive. You'd add 100, and now your new balance, if we were going off of our old scenario, would be $900. So you'd know you have now $900 in your emergency section of your savings account. Then at the end of the month, say your budgeted at the beginning of the month was $50. Your end of the month deposit would then be $50. So you'd move $50 into your savings account. Now you'd take your end of the month balance, which if you had been doing the exact withdrawal and deposit that we talked about earlier, you know that your balance was at $900. You then deposited your $50 end of the month deposit, and now your balance is $950. Then when you start your next journal for the new month, you'd put your budget amount, say it was $50 again, and then you'd put your start of the month at $950. So every time you close out one journal, you're gonna put what the previous month's end of the month balance is. That's how you're gonna keep track between all of your savings categories, how much you have left in them for the rest of the month. So again, this happens throughout every single section, and then at the back, there is some custom savings section. So if you're saving up, say for a new house or something like that, you can put exactly on the line what that custom savings category is, how much you have budgeted. It works exactly the same way. And then just like with the categorized expense tracker, you have a big notes section. I use this all the time to jot down quick notes. Say I'm gonna up my savings for a certain number of months to hit a goal. I might write that as a note for myself in the margin next to that section so that I remember from month to month that I made that decision. So that's basically a walkthrough of your savings tracker, and then it takes you to your additional worksheet section.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If there is any questions that you still had, make sure to check out our other videos on our Learn page at themonthlymoneyjournal.com/learn. If you still have any questions that you'd like answered, you can reach out to us by email at contact@themonthlymoneyjournal.com or go to the contact page on our website. We'd love to hear from you.